Good afternoon and Happy New Year. My name is Richard and I'm here today with kcmbtv, a nonprofit community media organization here in the greater New York area. So we're here today at the Cross Island Y to cover a press event announcing the Honorable Councilmember Linda Lee as the new Finance Chair of the New York City Council. Hopefully also in attendance today will be Speaker Julie Menin. This announcement comes at an important time as New York City faces an ongoing budget and affordability crisis. Decisions that directly affect local communities, local small businesses and mom and pop stores, and nonprofit organizations all across the city are affected by decisions made by this committee. So today we will be speaking with Councilmember Linda Lee and hopefully also with Speaker Julie Menin to learn more about the priorities, responsibilities, and the direction of the City Council's financial leadership as we enter this new year. Also, before we say congratulations as well, right? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. I really wanted to be here for my colleague, Councilmember Linda Lee, who's the first Asian to be Finance Chair in the City Council. This is history making, and I know in the next 4 years she's going to deliver not only for this district that we're in right now, her district, but across the city as we tackle some of the affordability challenges the city has. First of all, I mean, the preliminary budget came out yesterday, so Councilmember Lee and I met with the mayor. All the different council members also met with the mayor as well. We had issued a statement yesterday. We are very emphatic on a hard no to raising the property taxes. We do not believe that is a path forward, and that's not something that the council will accept. So we're really looking right now at savings in the budget. We believe the responsible, prudent thing to do is to see where are the areas of savings, but making sure, of course, that there is no cut in services whatsoever, because we will not support that.
Great. Well, thank you so much. For this committee chair position, like what those responsibilities, like what's expected? Any plans going? I mean, you guys kind of already talked about that.
No, I mean, this is definitely a big deal for the Asian American community as a whole, but also the Korean community, because, my job essentially, because the finance chair, the land use chair are, those two committees are probably two of the most powerful committees in the city council. And the reason why this is so important and historic is because there's never been an Asian American who's been chair of the finance committee. But also, I think it helps when you have someone with lived experience from these immigrant communities that actually is at the table when we're negotiating the budget, the entire city's budget, with the mayor's office, because it's really us as well as the city council and the mayor. We have to work together to pass the city budget through. That's really my main job, is to really help pass the city budget along with the speaker, of course, right? And to make sure that we have a balanced budget and that by June 30th we're able to pass something, because if we don't, then that impacts services and organizations like the many of our nonprofits that are in the community.
Okay.
And also thinking through new initiatives with the council budget negotiation team that we work with. These are all areas where, as finance chair, hopefully we'll be able to leverage a lot of, the experiences from our community to help inform what we want to prioritize.
Yeah. So speaking of prioritizing, any certain type of priorities that you have in mind?
Well, I mean, for sure we know that we definitely need to protect our immigrant communities. What we're seeing across the board and what's happening across our country is something that's not really acceptable. So we need to make sure that we protect our immigrant communities and that they have the funding and resources that they need to be able to provide services directly. So that's something we're going to be fighting for.
Of course, thank you. And anything else for the community that you want to say?
Happy New Year, everyone. 새해 복 많이 받으세요.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure. We are so proud today to formally congratulate Councilmember Linda Lee as the new Finance Chair of the New York City Council. This is the first time that an Asian American has held this position, and our community, the Korean community, Queens community, we're just incredibly proud. She has done such a phenomenal job for our community, from her time as a social worker to running KCS and now as finance chair. We're just so proud of her.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And so I just have the honor of introducing our speaker, Julie Menin, who has served as a dedicated advocate for our workforce, whose labor built our city brick by brick, and for everyday families who have struggled far too long to make ends meet. In my previous capacity as chair of the Committee on Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addictions, I've had the privilege of working closely with Speaker Menin on our resolution for first responders and survivors of 9/11. So when 9/11 happened, Speaker Menin actually was a small business owner at the time, and she really transformed Lower Manhattan in the aftermath of when 9/11 happened, and that was actually the impetus of when she joined the community board and got involved in Community Board 1 and was the chair there. And so more than 2 decades after the events of 9/11, New Yorkers still suffer from the effects of exposure to toxins and debris at Ground Zero. And as a former community board chair in Lower Manhattan who fought for the creation of the World Trade Center Health Program, Julie stepped up once again when the federal government failed to address critical funding gaps for the medical care and support that the survivors deserve. Speaker Menin has continued to demonstrate the aptitude for coalition building, paired with an unwavering focus on delivering real results for New Yorkers. And she was the commissioner previously of both DCWP, Department of Community Worker Protection, as well as commissioner for the media and entertainment in the city. And not only that, but she had the daunting task in 2020 in the middle of COVID to lead up the census efforts, which I know a lot of our organizations here really helped with. And if it wasn't for Speaker Menin's efforts on the census, we wouldn't have gotten some of the highest counts in the state that we've gotten in a long time, which adds up to additional funding, because the more people we count, the more funding that we get that's equitable for our state. So that's largely due to Speaker Menin's efforts. And at a time when our city grapples with the issue of affordability, the council works to close spending gaps in our city budget. And Julie is just the city council speaker our city needs. And we have a lot of exciting initiatives that I'm sure she's going to talk about, but creating offices like the Healthcare Accountability Office, which was part of her bill and packages to bring transparency to how much hospitals are charging us for all the different services that they provide. So these are just a few highlights that really are the reasons why I was a day one supporter for Speaker Menin to get her elected, because we knew that she was the right person for the job. And the fact that she has come out to District 23 multiple times at this point speaks to how important it is for her to hear the voices all across the city. So from Eastern Queens to Staten Island to the Bronx, she literally has been in every corner of this city. And so without further ado, I would love to bring up Speaker Julie Menin.
Wow, I just want to say I love Linda Lee. You have such an amazing council member. She is not only a dear personal friend of mine, but an incredible colleague. And so when I asked her to be finance chair, I really can't tell you how excited I was about this, and what I know she's going to do such a tremendous job, not only for this district, but for our city as a whole. So Linda, thank you for everything that you are doing. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your partnership. Great things to come in the next 4 years. So I really wanted to be here today. The point of today is really to celebrate the appointment of your council member, Linda Lee, as a finance chair. That is really why I wanted to be here today, to talk about her and her work. I will begin briefly by saying, since Linda mentioned it, we've just been joined by the incredible Congresswoman Grace Meng. Grace, we're so happy that you are here today. And Congressmember Meng has been a longtime friend, a longtime colleague of both of ours, and we're so thrilled that she is here today to celebrate this historic moment. So before I talk a little bit about Linda, I do want to just talk a little bit about the council, because yesterday, obviously, the mayor presented the preliminary budget, and so now this kicks off our portion of it, where we really delve into the details of the budget. I know many of you came up to me before we began and mentioned the concern around a potential 9.5% property tax increase. To be clear, that is not on the table for us. We've taken that off the table. So I just want to assure you we are not not going to do that. So I'm here, though, to talk about your incredible council member, Linda Lee. So a few things about Linda is not only is she one of the most thoughtful people, but she cares so deeply about the work itself. And I know you all see that each and every day when she shows up. So first of all, I know you know her history, but prior to joining city government, she worked at KCS. She always talks about KCS. It's like her second family, the council being her first family. But we really appreciate all the work that you did at KCS, at being there for over 12 years. And I think that that work informs her work each and every day, because you know how to run an organization, you know how the not-for-profit space works, you're very sensitive to it, and I think that's really going to help in terms of the key and critical work being our finance chair. But she has, not only in her role as president and CEO of KCS, but she helped provide essential resources and services during the height of COVID. Linda mentioned that during COVID, I served as census director. We partnered a lot with KCS, thanks to the work of so many people in this room. We in New York City finished #1 on the census. We beat out every other city in terms of the self-response rate. And that work led to an additional $1.8 billion of funding that we in New York City are receiving each and every single year. And that's to fund over 300 vital programs, so SNAP, Head Start, and so many others that I know this community cares very deeply about. I do want to mention that Councilmember Lee went to Barnard. I went to Columbia, so we share this in common. And prior her time at Barnard to her leadership at KCS, she's always been proactive about using her voice and showing initiative to advocate for changes she wants. It's why she ran for city council, as she will tell you anytime you ask, that was something that really informed her decision to run in the first place. As the mental health chair for the past 4 years, she really worked on creating that mental health roadmap that we in the council and in the city are utilizing, and mental health being one of the primary challenges that this city faces. So she's also worked very much on combating anti-Asian hate. And so I want to talk about that for a minute, because as the city's first Jewish speaker, which is something I'm very proud of, there is incredible similarities and commonalities between the Asian and Jewish communities. We have worked together on so many issues, whether it is combating anti-Semitism or combating Asian hate. I will say both Congressmember Meng and Councilmember Lee are some of the first people to text me when there's an anti-Semitic incident. And so really the commonality of purpose that we share around combating hate for both of our respective communities is so critical. Also, there's a singular focus, first of all, on public safety that our two communities share, and that's something that's very important, and on G&T programs. You know, a deep level commitment, which I have, and I know Councilmember Lee has, to gifted and talented programs. We believe they must be expanded, not contracted. We believe that we need to have G&T in every single community, so we're expanding opportunities for our young people to be able to accelerate their learning and to be on a G&T track. So that's something I just wanted to mention as well. So last week, Councilmember Lee and I were in Albany together, fighting for additional resources for our city, really fighting for so many different things, making sure, for example, that our schools have enough funding, making sure that our not-for-profits have enough funding, making sure that we are focused on healthcare, and I think we've had some very big wins that I know that she'll be able to talk about, which are very, very exciting. Councilmember Lee mentioned the Healthcare Accountability Office that the council created. This was under one of my bills where we created the nation's first Office of Healthcare Accountability that is going to allow us to rein in excessive, skyrocketing healthcare costs, so that for consumers, we're making sure that consumers are able to lower their healthcare bills. So that is something that we have also been extremely focused on as well. And so, you know, what I really wanted to be here today is to say that with Linda Lee's appointment to be the finance chair, this is history making, this is breaking barriers. She is the first Asian in the city council to serve as finance chair, and this is very, very key and powerful perch. And I know that she is going to honor the commitment that she has made to this incredible community to carry not only the legacy of the work that all of you do, but now she has a perch looking across the city to make sure that our finance team is doing the key and important work supporting our not-for-profit sectors, making sure that essential services are not cut. So to be clear, as we negotiate this budget, we are not on board with cutting any kind of essential services or staff. We believe very strongly that there are savings to be had in the city budget, savings around healthcare, saving around no bid contracts. There are pockets of savings that will allow us to balance this budget without any kind of property tax increase or without any kind of cut to essential services. So that is our stance, and we invite all of you to hopefully come to our budget hearings. So in closing, I really just want to say, Linda, I'm so thrilled that you're in this position. I know that you're going to do a tremendous job, and I'm so excited to work side by side with you over these next 4 years. Thank you.
I just wanted to touch upon a couple things that the speaker had mentioned that I know are priorities for this part of Queens. And as she mentioned, the rising costs in healthcare. This is something that, as taxpayers, you definitely deserve to know where your dollars are being spent. And see the benefits of those dollars come to fruition in the community. And yet, as we live in an affordability crisis right now, we continue to witness ordinary costs skyrocketing. Everything seems to be more expensive. And one of these health areas is healthcare, which I'm sure many people in this room are aware of. And 10% of the New York City budget is spent on public sector healthcare. That's a total of $11 billion a year. And 5 years ago, that total was only $6 billion a year. And New York is the second largest purchaser of healthcare in the state, and we must do everything in our power to drive down costs. And thanks to, as Speaker Menin mentioned, the bill that she had passed 2 years ago, the city did create the Office of Healthcare Accountability to demand transparency on where these dollars are actually going. And similarly, we are seeing the same issues on the insurance industry. Health insurance, which I have firsthand experience with, homeowners insurance, and car insurance. And of course, David now at the state level is chairs the Committee on Insurance, and so hopefully we can partner with our Assembly member a lot in some of these areas. And I know that homeowners insurance, for example, the premiums in the state have increased by 26% annually, crippling families across Eastern Queens and Southeast Queens. Homes that so many of us in our communities have used to build that generational wealth. And compounded with the fact that many co-ops and condos, as we know, which were formerly the gateway to affordable homeownership, have now seen management costs rise due to some of the implementation of Local Law 97, which we know is a well-intentioned law that has had several challenges along the way. So hopefully those are things that we can continue to work out. Co-ops and condos, home to 800,000 of New York City's housing units, are facing a cost of living crisis, and residents of these buildings have seen their bills jump as high as 54%. And their monthly fees, which cover utilities, labor, basic building maintenance, have climbed 3 times faster than inflation. And while Local Law 97's goals of providing climate sustainability is necessary, the law definitely does bring challenges for many middle-income class families who will bear the financial burden. So those are things that we're trying to address on the council side as well. Our city must provide a lifeline to preserve housing affordability for our most affected residents. And our area is also known as a transit desert. We are one of the few council districts that have no trains or railroads, no subways, nothing. We are literally reliant on cars and buses for the most part. And we have Long Island Railroad trains to the north and south of our district, but nothing that's actually within District 23. And the cost of auto insurance is actually 52% higher than the national average, which I'm sure all of us are seeing if we have cars. And New Yorkers are overpaying for insurance of all kinds, and we need to take a look behind that curtain. Under our speaker, the council is looking at legislation to create new Office of Insurance Accountability, modeled after the Office of Healthcare Accountability, to deliver much needed transparency in all of these areas. And as we mentioned, a lot of buzz has been around the property taxes. And as chair of the Finance Committee, I see firsthand how central the property tax is to our city's fiscal health and housing stability. And they fund essential local services like schools, public safety, infrastructure, but as we have seen, the property tax structure does not fully correspond to present-day housing realities. And increases in home values lead to tax hikes that far too often do not reflect a homeowner's income or ability to pay. And the property tax structure, as we know, is inequitable and inefficient and oftentimes vague. placing disproportionate pressure on long-term homeowners and rental properties. There is growing momentum in the city and state to reform the bureaucratic and regulatory barriers that drive up our property tax system. And property tax reform should ensure that people are taxed based on current, accurate, and equitable assessments, not luck or timing. And yesterday we heard the administration's decision to propose a potential property tax rate increase by 9.5%, and this would detrimentally impact older adult homeowners on fixed incomes, small businesses, and renters who will face higher rent payments as a result. And amidst an affordability crisis, raising property taxes would be a drastic approach that is not an option for us. And our city should look holistically, as the speaker mentioned, at potential savings and revenues before shifting that burden onto New Yorkers who are already struggling. And under Speaker Menin, we will continue to do just that. So I've just outlined some of our priorities that the council looks to achieve. And as we officially kick off the preliminary budget hearings in the season, we are committed to cutting down the fiscal waste, increasing transparency, and ensuring that residents see the fruition of their tax dollars through quality city services. So I just wanted to thank you all here today, and I just want to emphasize the fact that I've said this throughout my time as a city council member, it really does take a village. If it wasn't for Congresswoman Grace Meng nudging me back in the day to run for office and all the leaders here in the community to help me along the way, I really would not be where I am today, standing on all of your shoulders. And I know it sounds like a cheesy line to say, but it is thanks to predecessors in government, predecessors in the community, in the immigrant community, the first generation community. It's really thanks to all of you guys that someone like myself could actually be in this position today. And I just want to thank the community, which is why we're here too, because I want to recognize all of you and have all of you have a chance to meet our amazing speaker who has come from far and away in the land of Manhattan. So
Afternoon, I'm like, my kids have been off all week. I don't even know what day it is or what time it is, but it's great to be here. Apologies for being late. I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng, and I get to represent parts of Queens in Washington, D.C., and I overlap quite a bit with our council member and finance chair, Linda Lee. We are so thrilled to be here to celebrate this new appointment that is really rooted in our local communities. And to have our city council speaker, our new speaker, right here in the heart of Queens, when many of us know and feel that Queens residents and families and small businesses are often forgotten and underappreciated. But to have our new speaker here in the heart of Queens, recognizing our new finance chair and talking about the priorities of our Queens families is something that we as local elected officials from Queens really appreciate. Our speaker is from Manhattan. Nobody's perfect. But we know that she is no stranger to Queens. Even before she was elected speaker by her colleagues, she had been to and continues to come to Queens and hears us and tries to provide solutions for our families. Today we are here from a cross-section of our community to celebrate someone that now has a new fancy title, finance chair, but is someone who we all know to be our local, friendly, and capable council member. I don't remember a time when I didn't know Linda Lee. I don't remember exactly when we met or how we met. But I know that being a friend with her, being a colleague, you know, everything is more fun with Linda, right? Serving in government, serving our constituents, talking about our boys. We are both boy moms. So is the speaker. The speaker's a boy mom, although her, like Mark Weprin, got a surprise bonus later in life with a daughter. But, you know, we often, eating is fun with Linda Lee, right? But I first thought about, as a mom, I wanted to support and float the idea of Linda Lee as a a candidate to run for office. And her resume and bio might not sound like the conventional or typical politician, but even more so, I think that's why it was so important that she was willing to throw in her hat and run for office. And I want to give a special shout out to her family, her husband, and to her wonderful staff who makes her successes possible, therefore success for our community. And back then, many of us knew that Linda would be a great public servant because we had already seen what she had done with and while her time running Korean Community Services. She is someone who doesn't take no for an answer. If something is not happening through the traditional channels of government, she doesn't just accept that as fact. She finds creative ways to make it happen. In the height of COVID, many of you from Queens know, we watched other parts of the city and the state get resources that we did not get, from testing to vaccine sites to vaccines, from masks. Queens was often the last. And if it wasn't for Linda Lee and her team's effort through organizations like KCS, I know that so many of our community members, including in my congressional district, would not have had access to any of that. So when government didn't have sufficient resources, Linda Lee was creative and came up with the solutions to help our community. And so we know that she will continue to do that as finance chair. I'm so proud of you, Linda, as a fellow colleague, as a fellow mom, as your friend. Our community is proud of the success that you have achieved. And assuming everyone here is from Queens, it's okay if you give Queens a little bit more money and resources. But I just wanted to be here with all of our amazing leaders to celebrate this successful achievement, because it's not just a victory for Linda, it's a victory for all of our communities. So thank you.
The good news is I don't have a speech. I didn't know I was going to be called up, but I want you to know the position of finance chair of the city council is one that I couldn't think of a better person than Linda Lee, because that's a position that I held for 8 years. And I was very proud of our accomplishments when I was finance chair right after 9/11. And Julie actually worked with me from the private sector at that time, and started a not-for-profit, Wall Street Rising, and was really a part of the team that really brought New York City back from 9/11. And it obviously, I couldn't think of a better person to take those reins than Linda Lee. And I also had this council district as my brother Mark did. So we really care about this district, about the community, and Linda Lee will be a great leader, a great finance chair, and I'm so proud that Speaker Menin saw that in our council member, Linda Lee, and I am very excited about it as well. Thank you.